What's up, guys? Viking here again. Today I'm going to bring you another Viking Explains video. What is the Long Dark? So first, let me start off by saying that I was extremely surprised when I picked this game up a couple of years ago, when it first went into early access. And just the premise of the story for this game and what I saw when I first picked this game up. It was actually, excuse me, I was actually introduced to this game by a friend of mine, who told me about it when it had just gotten into early access, before it had even reached Steam, I believe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read what the developers have to say about the game, or what the game is, and then I'm going to tell you my experiences with the game and what the game is, basically. So here we go. I'm reading this straight from Steam. So The Long Dark is an early access title. The sandbox is a constant state of improvement and is unfinished. Or it isn't finished. Buying The Long Dark on early access supports our ability to continue improving the game. For more information, refer to the early access information above. So I'm going to read to you what the game is in their eyes. So, what is The Long Dark? The Long Dark is a thoughtful exploration survival experience that challenges solo players to think for themselves as they explore an expansive, frozen wilderness. There are no zombies, only you, the cold, and everything Mother Nature can throw at you. So, that is all true. The game, when it first came into early access, and I believe it's actually still early access. If I move the mouse here, it should say alpha build up top. Yeah. So up top in the corner up there, it says this is a sandbox alpha build. So when I first started this game, or when I first picked it up, they only had one map, and we'll go into the sandbox just so you guys can take a look here, and I'll move my beautiful face so you guys can see that and what this has to offer. So in the beginning, when they first released this game in the early access, they didn't have these different modes that you can choose from. Essentially, what each of these modes does is, like Pilgrim mode basically makes it so that you can just explore the game without having to worry about any of the wildlife interacting with you at all. Voyager, this is going to be, you can explore, the wildlife can't attack you, but they're not going to seek you out specifically. And then Stalker mode is allowing you to essentially, you're being hunted by these things, and it's not an easy game. It's actually quite difficult. I think the longest I've ever survived playing this is about 20 days, and that goes by the 20 days of in-game time and not just like actual real time. So let's go ahead and choose this option here. I'm just going to show you the maps that are currently available. So when I first picked up the game, the first map that was available was Mystery Lake, and it was a pretty good map as it stood in the very beginning, with just the bare bones of what they had put in the game, just to kind of give you guys the concept of how it worked and what you were supposed to do. So you start out your they don't really give you a backstory, but if you read a little bit into and do a little bit of research into the game, essentially you've crashed in a plane, and you then start out in Mystery Lake. You have to find supplies, food, water. You can find things like flares and different types of food, different types of clothing, some weapons. Not very many weapons. You get lucky, sometimes you can find a rifle. So this was back in the early access time, when the game first released. Since then, they've added a ton of stuff. I mean, they have added crafting. They've added being able to repair your gear and craft things, as well as being able to fish and essentially being able to do more survivally type things and stay alive. And again, back when this first released, it was more along the lines of just finding things that you could find to survive, and now it's more centered around still that idea, but also you can now do hunting, and you can create traps, and you can do all sorts of things in regards to that. So it's pretty cool. There's some more in the description as far as what the game is. A lot of it says here, like, no hand holding. The game challenges players to think for themselves by providing the information, but never the answers. And that's completely true. You just stumble upon things and find them, and that's what makes this game. That's what makes this game really, really good. They've since their earlier builds of the game, they've added calories, so you can track your calories. If your calories go too low, you can die from starvation. They've got things like, if you get too cold, you can actually get hypothermia. So they've actually added different states in the game as far as how long you can survive during different types of situations. They've also made it so you can only run for so far. You can only carry so much gear on you. As far as I know, they still don't have a story mode, but it does say that it's coming. They didn't have this back in the past. I'll move my head over here so that you guys can actually see what that says, so you guys can read it. I'm not going to read it, but essentially they're going to be adding a story mode, and that's fantastic. I'm excited for that. They have the sandbox mode, which you can choose from different maps, and we'll just go through those really quick. They added the coastal highway a few, like 4 months down the road. They ended up adding coastal highway. Then they added the Pleasant Valley, which is really cool. It's got this, it's a big open like farm area, really, really neat. In each one of these scenarios, there's some kind of different, I don't want to say there's not different mechanics, but it's just the different ways that you can essentially try to stay alive. Whereas like Mystery Lake, there isn't a whole ton of shelter. There are some houses you can find, some cabins and things. Coastal Highway, there's quite a few houses and things like that. And you can do a little bit of fishing as well. I believe you can actually do fishing in Mystery Lake as well now. Pleasant Valley, big open farm area with a couple of barns. And I think there's like... well, I don't want to spoil too much for you if you decide to get this game, guys. And then we've got the Desolation Point, which has got the lighthouse and some other cool things. Something really neat that's not in the other maps. I won't spoil that for you. Timberwolf Mountain. This one's really cool and really unique because this is actually on a mountain that essentially you actually have a crashed plane. You can find supplies find supplies in, and then you can also find a cabin. And there's a couple of other really cool things that you can also find there, which are really neat. And a couple of other really cool things that you're going to run into, such as bear. I've run into quite a few of those. So that is also really cool. This one actually says a true test of wilderness survival skills, and that is absolutely true. This is a really hard map. Really fun, though. It's really good. So it also says here dynamic weather, wildlife, and time of day. So they do have day and night cycles. They do have dynamic weather, so it can be extremely cold and windy, or just really cold, or both. It gets really foggy. I don't know if it rains or snows. It might now. It's been a while since I played, since I played in the alpha. Let's see here. So over 30 square kilometers of wilderness to explore. More regions are coming. Mystery Lake, Coastal Highway, Desolation Point, Pleasant Valley, and more. All interconnected, and each with dozens of explorable locations. So there's, again, tons of locations to find. And it's awesome when you find a location and there's actually supplies in there and you're just like, oh my gosh, yes, I found something I can survive for just a little bit longer. You can do things like melt snow, take snow, melt it, boil it to sanitize it, and then you can drink it. You find things like iodine tablets, and you can get fresh water that way. Sodas, and there's just all sorts of stuff. So they've also got, you can hunt deer, you can snare rabbits, watch for crows, as they signify the presence of animals or a human, corpses that can be vital sources of supplies. Wolves are territorial and will defend their territory or stalk you if they catch your scent. So they will actually hunt you depending on which mode, as we talked about in the beginning of the video. They can actually hunt you down, and that's just crazy to me. Same with the bear as well. So yeah, you can also harvest different types of fuel. So you can harvest wood. You can get so like you can find, essentially you can harvest wood anywhere outside. You just use the harvest wood ability, and it takes some of your time, and then it also takes some of your calories. And if it's cold outside, you can get really cold. I mean, there is just so many things in this game that make it just incredibly good. So my impressions of the game is, when I first picked this game up, I was extremely impressed. This is a very good game, extremely well done. And the survival aspect of this game is like better than any other survival game I have ever played. I mean, it is really, really good, and that wind is super loud. Woo! I'm just gonna turn that down a smidge in there, guys. So like when you have these windstorms like you're hearing right now, you have to get indoors or you could freeze to death. You can kind of sort of like shelter yourself outside, find little places to be able to shelter yourself from the wind. That works. They take into account a lot of different things in this game. You can actually break down furniture now. That was something that wasn't in the game before, and now you can actually break down furniture to get wood and make fire starting material and things like that. You can also break down your gear and repair your gear, or when you find stuff like boots, if you have another pair of boots, you can break those down and repair another pair of boots. And there's just so much. It's just incredible. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to cut the video here, guys. But my impressions of the game before I end the video here is, this is bar none the best survival game. If you're looking for a survival game where you're going up against the elements, where you have to survive and find food and water and worry about the wildlife and the weather, the time of day and all of that, this is the best survival game. I mean, I didn't get paid to say this. I'm just saying it as it is. This is an excellent game. The graphics are extremely good. I mean, they're just super pretty. What you're seeing right here is what you get. I mean, this game is just super, super pretty. The game is just so well done. I highly recommend it. I don't think it's that much. I mean, let's see what it is on Steam. $20 on Steam, and that is a steal. I mean, this game is totally worth the $20. So if you're into survival games and you've been looking for like that perfect survival game that encompasses all of the things that we talked about in this video, then definitely pick it up. It's definitely worth. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.